about it. And the Kings with a great road trip at 4-2 with wins at Dallas and at Minnesota, highlighting the 6-game trip. But tonight was a thing of beauty. The Kings finish off the Minnesota Timberwolves, the final of 124 to 111. Again, best win of the season, led by De'Aaron Fox. He was sensational. 36 points, 7 assists, and only 2 turnovers. The Kings came out on fire. They dictated the tempo of this game early. They actually won the game in the first quarter. When you look back at all the quarters, really it's the first quarter that was the difference in the game. 124 to 111. Ryan in Sacktown in a moment as you are joining us here, the post game on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball.
Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley. That is a major league smush.
And the Kings smushed the Timberwolves tonight. Rhino, I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't even think it's debatable. This is the best win of the season for Sacramento.
Grant, easily the best win of the season. They came into a game where the matchup stunk, especially down low. The Kings score 58 points in the paint to 42 for Minnesota. They out-rebound them. And how about the Kings bench? 45 to 25 versus the T-Wolves bench.
Wow. You know what? The thing that's interesting to me is if I told you the 2 stats before the game started, free throws and assist to turnovers, you would say the Kings lost the game. The free throw disparity was ridiculous. And the Kings didn't have their typical assist to turnover ratio you would expect in a magnitude of this. But, despite that, the Kings still were able to win the game. Look at the free throw disparity. I mean, again, Sacramento, all right, 9 of 11, and Minnesota, 27 of 29. Generally, Ryan, when you see that, the team that only has the 9 attempts, they lose.
Yeah, 99% of the time. You're right, Grant. And you know the difference here. This was a poorly officiated game on both ends. Both ends. There were so many plays where Minnesota was fouled blatantly, not called in the second half. Same thing with the Kings. They were fouled a lot in the first half, not called. I mean, Grant, you don't get 58 points in the paint and have how many free throws did you say? 5? Or 5 before they went to the end stretch, I should say. Yeah, crazy. You don't. Yeah.
You want some, if you don't like that, hats, huh?
No.
It's a possibility. I'd say, Cody, more than a nice win for the Kings. I think it's a great win for the Kings. All right. Looking at the beam is lit. De'Aaron Fox. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hat game on point. Light the beam. Nice game to pull out the W. Shows that this team is learning how to win when not everything is going well. Light the beam, everything else. Oh, heck yeah. A lot of happy people on this Thanksgiving holiday after the 2 losses in New Orleans, and there's a lot to be happy about. This was a big-time win for Sacramento. Big-time win.
There is not much you can put your nose up here at if you're a Kings fan. Minnesota, this is their first loss on their home court coming into tonight, won 10 of 11. I mean, they've won some really good games, but what the Kings did was they exposed Minnesota to a degree. If you get up on Minnesota, they have a very, very difficult time coming back because of their depth.
Great point. Kings were up 22 in the first quarter. They were up 38 to 31 at the end of 1. I thought they controlled the tempo of the game right from the start. Third quarter, they held Minnesota to 15 points. There's just a lot to like across the board. And again, you play without Keegan Murray. Duarte started for him. And Duarte's a different type of a player. Think about this. He played 22 minutes. He didn't even score, but he did have 5 rebounds. He didn't have any assists. He's just kind of a stopgap measure until you get Murray back in there.
Yeah, Grant, he was a +2 for the game.
Yeah.
So he's doing stuff across the board for the Kings when he's not scoring and on the floor. But you look at Minnesota, you brought up a great point about the Kings dominated the pace. Minnesota is not a team that plays fast. They are in the bottom third of the league in pace, and you saw it in the third and fourth quarters. There were multiple possessions where they turned the ball over on a fast break, or Towns throws the ball out of bounds, and those were the possessions that could have taken the lead from 11-9.
Yep.
And it just never added up, and that's because they were under pressure. They had to score.
Hello from Cambodia. Glad to have you with us from Southeast Asia here in the morning hours. For those of you that are in Asia and the rest of us watching in the evening hours, wherever you may be in the U.S., 124-111, Sacramento with the victory, and outstanding. I mean, and how about Fox? 36. He had 14 of 32 from the floor, a lot of shots, but he controlled the pace of the game. He controlled the pace of the game.
He controlled the pace of the game, and he also played through adversity. You got a technical foul, and when De'Aaron gets a technical foul, I look at that like a coach getting a technical foul, like firing the boys up. And, when things didn't go his way, he found another way to get it done. And just that is why he is a premier star in this league.
Says Serbia salutes Asia. Well, Asia salutes Serbia because you all are freaking great. Watching at all hours. I think, what is it? What is it like?
7 or 8.
It's the morning in Cambodia, right? It's probably like what? I don't know, before noon. And over in Serbia, they're already on the calendar of Sunday, right? I mean,
yeah. They're Sunday morning right now.
I mean, or whatever the hell day it is. Saturday, I should say, not
or
Sunday.
Saturday.
Because it's Friday here in the States, Saturday in Serbia, it's Saturday in Cambodia. I mean, we got people all over the freaking world, so much so I can't even keep track of what day it is.
Yeah, you're doing some of that Bowling Green math there, partner, in your head, trying to get it figured out.
Man, oh man. As far as keeping a momentum going, the NBA is too long and there's too many peaks and valleys with injuries. So I literally take it in 5-game increments. But this 6-game trip, if I can go in 6 games, listen, you go 4-2 with this type of competition. Other than San Antonio, everybody was a good team. Yeah, that's big time basketball. That's big time.
Yeah, and you were close to going 5-1. I mean, the Kings played just about as bad as you could in New Orleans, and they still almost pulled out that second game. So way to end the road trip. Now, Grant, you enjoy it on the flight home, and you focus on Golden State this coming week because you don't want to have a letdown coming home off of a 6-game trip.
Well, and look at the standings and look at who's sliding without Jamal Murray. I mean, the Denver Nuggets can't barely win a game without Murray on the floor. Houston beat them tonight. All right. Think about that. All right. The Rockets have had some big time wins, but it's like if you're Sacramento right now, you'd love to be playing Denver, but you're not. So a lot of the schedule, I hate to say this, deals with luck. When you play a team, are they at full strength or not? I mean, let's face it. If you're playing the Denver Nuggets, okay, without Jamal Murray, you're getting a big advantage. I know they have Joker, but look at the standings now. Denver has only gone 5-5 in their last 10 games. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Only 5-5 in their last 10. And Sacramento now is 9-6. Phoenix won tonight. They're 10-6. Minnesota and Oklahoma City. Think about this. And I've been talking about Oklahoma City since the summertime.
Yeah.
I think they're really good. Their last loss was to Sacramento, was it not?
Yes, it was.
I mean,
correct.
They're now 11-4.
Yep.
So
they're heating up.
It's a long season. It is a long season.
Yeah, Grant, you got to remember, though, too, from the Kings front, they've played 10 of their first 15 on the road so far this season. You've sustained a period without De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, and then a slew of other guys, and you still sit here at 9-6. And I know you don't care, but the in-season tournament, they are in charge of their own destiny now. Top of Group C, 3-0. Golden State wins tonight. They wrap up Group C.
All right, good to know. It's 5 a.m. over in Serbia. Put our house upside down after this game. Party. Good job right there. Thank you for your donation. Kessler should start over Duarte. Well, neither are going to start, as soon as Keegan Murray's back. So that's not going to happen, not going to happen. I'll tell you what is going to happen, all right, this weekend is you got the weekend brunch at Bennett's at all 3 locations. I love talking about the West Side Grill. If you were there yesterday for Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great time with loved ones, friends, whatever the case may be. Bennett's is awesome. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out the menu. Make a reservation or more. 3 locations, Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill at the Blue Oaks Town Center in Rockland. Final score, Sacramento wins, and they win convincingly over the top seed in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves, 124-111. So happy to have you here on this day after Thanksgiving, and that makes the holiday a little sweeter for the Kings fans, no doubt about it.
Yeah, makes those day-old turkey sandwiches taste better, that pumpkin pie, yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy is right. And oh, boy for the Kings, who now come home to take on the Warriors. And the Warriors are currently playing the Spurs tonight, and it is 23-20 in the first quarter in Golden State.
That one could go either way.
Yep.
That's going to be one to watch, but
you don't know what you're getting from the Warriors day in, day out. First of all, you don't know who's going to get ejected. You don't know if Klay Thompson's going to play really well or really bad. He's coming off a really good game, but he's had a lot of bad games. You don't really know what you're going to get, except for when you play the Kings. If the Warriors play the Kings know what they're going to get, okay? They're going to get an A+ version of Steph Curry, right? Yep. And the game's probably going to go down to the end.
Yep. You said it perfectly there, partner. I mean, that is an easy one to bet. It's going to be close.
All right. Again, you know what? I said this after they got blown out by New Orleans on Monday. I said I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't worried about it. This show is loved across the country and around the world. Well, we like to think so. Thank you very much for the love. Absolutely. Yes, I have seen that, and I'm very well aware of Google stealing my line. I am, absolutely. But, that's respect for Mr. Napier, if I may say so.
Yeah. Everybody knows that's your line. It just sounds awkward coming out of somebody else's name, especially on national TV. Come on.
Oh, my God. Crazy.
Come on. Do better.
Oh, my God. 124-111. Sacramento gets the victory. All right. We're not talking about football, haunted horse. You see that on your screen?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'll eat it, haunted horse. That's fine. I'll eat it. Well done. We'll leave it there.
Please visit Sunrise Landing. I agree with you. Definitely visit Sunrise Landing. And I love talking about Sunrise Landing because it is awesome. You go to CalusaSunrise.com, all right, and check out the project from Blazona Development called Sunrise Landing. And it has 6 models to choose from. These are beautiful, beautiful homes. First phase is already sold out. No Mellorews, no homeowners at Sunrise Landing. So go to CalusaSunrise.com. That's CalusaSunrise.com and check it out for yourself. That's Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. All right, right here, 124-111. Sacramento gets the victory, and they come home now. And we always hear, the first home game after a road trip. But I got to believe that with the Warriors waiting for you, that's going to get your attention. You've already lost to them twice this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're going to be ready to go. They're looking to kind of slay that dragon, for lack of a better terms. But I think really your attention also turns to health. If you're the Sacramento Kings, you want to make sure Trey Lyles' calf has not regressed. You want to see what the deal is with Keegan. And there's some fresh legs coming into play for you if, they're not able to play once they get back home.
4 starters in double figures. The only one that didn't get in double figures with Duarte. Edwards off the bench had a very productive 18 minutes with 10 points. Also, you look at Malik Monk. He got I think all of his scoring pretty much in the first half. He was very quiet in the second half. I don't think he scored a basket in the second half.
He had 17 in the first. What did he finish with?
Yeah, 17. He didn't score 17. After the first quarter.
Yeah. But the thing about Malik, He had one bad turnover where he got caught in the air, but he remained aggressive. So I appreciated that. He wasn't settling for 3 balls. It was what it was, but they had enough to get by without him, and that's all you need.
I'll tell you who else had a nice game, very quietly, and he's been getting criticized a lot, but I thought Harrison Barnes was very solid tonight.
Harrison Barnes was really solid. He did a little bit inside, a little bit outside, and that's exactly what needs to happen when you play the Wolves because it pulls those big guys out. And he did a great job on Towns too. And I think, Grant, one other group of people we need to mention here is the Kings coaching staff. Their game plan was absolutely on point tonight. Mike Brown called timeouts when he thought runs were coming on, and the challenge with De'Aaron and Anthony Towns on that charge was huge.
Very, very big. Very big.
Huge.
Towns tonight had 27 and 11. Gobert with 12 and 11. And Anthony Edwards, he scored 18 of his 35 points from the foul line, 17 of 18 from the line. That's
he was
crazy.
There too much. Yeah. He was there far too much.
So, but hey, again, with all of that, the Kings get the victory, 124-111. They're now 9-6. And, they're 500 on the road. If you can go 500 on the road, that is outstanding.
That's what the great Jerry Reynolds always tells us.
Yep.
So I'll go by that.
Yep. Well, I think that, we look at the road trip, which opened up in Los Angeles. Then you got San Antonio, which the Kings had to fight and claw for the Spurs. You can look back at this whole road trip, okay, and you can say that was their toughest win because they didn't play well. They were down 17 in the first quarter. They were down in the fourth quarter, if you remember. They actually had a deficit by a point, I believe, in the fourth, and they had to come back and win. So whereas that should have been your cupcake game, that was a really hard fought win against the Spurs.
Mindset, Grant. To me, it is mindset with this team. Again, they prove the theory. They play up to their competition and sometimes play down to it. But if you can win ugly when you play down to your competition, that's all right too.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the Spurs and the Warriors playing right now. That's the Kings' next opponent. It is 29-24 Golden State with 3 minutes left in the first. Orlando, boy, they're playing well. They beat Boston.
Yeah.
Phoenix won. The Knicks came from behind to beat Miami tonight, 100-98 at the Garden. Toronto, a winner over Chicago. I'll tell you, Indiana, boy, they are scoring the hell out of the ball, aren't they? I mean, they put 136 points on the board again tonight. They have been scoring in bunches. Houston beat Denver, and the Bucks beat Washington. New Orleans plays the Clippers in a little bit.
We've had the conversation about De'Aaron Fox. Is he a star now? Throw another name into that, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, he is. He is. I mean, Halliburton. But again, it's a trade that worked out well for both teams.
It did. Great. Fox and Halliburton would not have worked together to its best. Let's put it that way. But in exchange, and I was going to ask you this anyways tonight, you got Sabonis here in Sacramento, and I think between Fox and Sabonis, you have the best two finishing players ever at the rim that the Kings have had in franchise history.
You could certainly make a big-time argument for that, yes. I would agree with that, yes. Speaking of Halliburton, 26 points, 10 assists tonight, and he had only one turnover. Again, it's a deal that's worked out very well for both teams. And I'll go back and I'll phrase it this way. If both teams had the opportunity today to make that deal all over again, both teams would.
It's a great point, Grant. And it gave both teams that fresh new look that both teams needed. It was that piece that made things different. Halliburton, kind of that upstart there, excitement, a little faster pace. And Sabonis, the yin to Fox's yang. It couldn't have worked out better.
Now, the one thing I'm going to say about this next home game is this should not be your typical first game back home because it's Friday night. You don't play again until Tuesday. Very often when you come back from these long road trips, you only have one day off, and then like the Kings would have a game on Sunday. That's a big difference. Now with these extra days off, Ryan, I don't think being at home after a long road trip is going to be that big of an issue. A matter of fact, it shouldn't be an issue at all. It should be a non-factor, because you have players can get acclimated to the time zone. They can do their errands. And I really mean that. Listen, some of these guys are married. They haven't seen their wives, their kids. It's family day. Wife wants a break. Wife wants to go out. I know a lot of these players
Thanksgiving at home.
All kinds of things. And a lot of times fans don't understand that. When you come back from a road trip, you're not just coming back to relaxation like you were in your hotel room. You got things to do. You got people that want to see you. Maybe spouse, children, school. I can go on and on. Now you have these days off. So Tuesday should be a non-issue for being a home game.
Yeah, and treatment that many of the Kings desperately need is now, depending where each King lives, a 15, 20, 30-minute drive, which you will have to make. It's not on the same floor of your hotel room or downstairs. So it does make a difference. But, I think the Kings, it comes at a good time. They can't take it for granted. They need to stay mentally focused, but they've got to get healthy as well.
All right. Don't forget about New Works Plumbing for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. Just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. That's sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they're available 24/7, and they have got a fix for you. So, again, just go to sackserviceplumbing.com. All right, so your 5 games when you get home after this 4-2 road trip, all right, you have Golden State, you have the Clippers, you have Denver without Jamal Murray, still going to be out from what we understand. That's at home. Then you have Brooklyn, and then you're at the LA Clippers. So you're going to see the Clippers twice. I know the Clippers are a different looking team now with Harden, but you remember the games last year with the Clippers. They were unbelievable,
Yeah. And those are the same types of games like tonight. The Kings, much like Minnesota, they're an ISO team. They don't move the ball a ton. Clippers play the same brand of basketball, so you got to get up tempo with them. But that's one of those stands, Grant, or 5 games in a row. You could say I could see 4-1. I could also see 2-3.
Well, here's the other deal. Not counting what could happen in Vegas, 10 of your next 11 games are at home now. And the biggest bugaboo from last year's team was their home record. All right, so here we are. We talk about this all the time.
Right.
Kings had some very good road trips last year, and we said, "Oh wow, this is a great opportunity to go home and build on it." And what happened? They got smacked in the face, right? So you got 10 of 11 at home. All right, we talk about home court. The Kings have been very good at home this year. Well, this is where you can really pad your schedule and move up big time in the standings.
Yeah, and the Western Conference, I think, is going to be musical chairs, at least through the All-Star break, but there's not nearly the same amount of injuries early on that we saw last year. And also, scheduling-wise for the Kings, a lot of their first games back from a road trip were mediocre teams like Hornets, and the Warriors are not the Hornets. So, they maybe that helps the Kings because it's a game that, they should be ready for, Grant.
I'm with you on that. And the Warriors right now aren't even a top 10 team. They're playing tonight. They're 7-9. And, the Warriors on the road are 2-6. You look at Sacramento right now, 4-1 at home, 5-5 on the road. And now with these 10 of 11 coming up at home, well, you can really surge. You can actually go all the way to the top spot in the West if you have a good homestand.
Yeah, absolutely. With what Denver's doing in Minnesota, who knows what happens from here? They now lost another one. Could it be the same? Did the Kings give a formula for other teams with Minnesota? Who knows? We'll see. But the Kings need to maximize their home court. But all in all, Grant, you take a look at this season overall and everything this Kings team dealt with and where they stand coming into this homestand. What's your grade?
Excellent. I'm giving this Kings team through the first part of the season based on where they're at after 15 games with the injuries to Fox. I'd give him an A. I'd give him an A because I don't think they've really had that other than the second game at Houston. And I'm not degrading Houston. I think they're a decent team this year.
Yeah.
But other than that game and the first game in New Orleans, out of the 15 games, if I take those 2 out, there's nothing I can look at this team and really criticize. I think that the other 13 games, I give them a very high grade, especially when you had Fox missing, what, 5 of those games?
Right. They ran off.
What grade would you give them after 15?
Yeah, I'm an A. I mean,
me
I think
too.
they've got, to me, 3 very, very great wins, all in different ways. You look at the OKC game without De'Aaron Fox at home, which was absolutely huge. You look at tonight's game and you look at the Dallas game, and certainly some people say, well, Dallas had a horrible or a really bad back-to-back, which they did, but it's still a great win for Sacramento on the road. So there's no way you can't give them an A. I don't think this point of the season last year we were naming off at least 3 signature wins.
And I'm not already ruling out Jamal Murray for the Kings game. I want to make I want to give that because that game's not until December 2nd. Okay, so that's a significant amount of time. So I'm not assuming automatically. I'm trying to put everything together based on what I'm reading from Denver. So we'll see.
You also got to think too, Grant, that's right around the cutoff before they stop play for the Vegas tournament. So if Denver's not going to be heading to Vegas, you probably give Murray that rest going into that extended break.
I agree. That's a very good point. I think you would. That's a great point you just made. I'm right with you on that. Well, I don't know what else to say other than this was the best win of the season. I don't think there's any question about that. You took a team that had been playing really well. By the way, what happened on this road trip? You handed a team their first home loss of the year. The first game at the Lakers and this game against Minnesota.
That's right. That's right. Road Warriors. And that's going to make a difference. Those are the things you can hang your hat on if you're this Kings team when you're in a low moment. You point to these moments and say, we can play this well.
Thank you, Haunted Horse, for hitting the like button. Hit that thumbs up, hit the like button. It does make a difference. We greatly appreciate it. So if you would not mind just to do that, we would say thank you very much. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. A-. I'm okay with an A-. I mean, I'm okay with that. But I don't think it can be anything other than an A+, A-. I think anything under an A-, I wouldn't agree with that.
Yeah, and to take it a step further, if you want to look back through this first 15 and give a grade to the front office, A+. The depth has carried this team to this point, even though it's felt like we've been thin at some time or some moments, especially New Orleans. So they were ready for this.
I still think the Kings have a major void in the backcourt, and I think that their team right now is extremely fragile. And I mean, if Fox has one more injury, this team is going to plummet because they have not shown, in my opinion, any ability to play consistently offensively without De'Aaron Fox on the floor. And so I'm looking before February to see if the Kings can make that deal to get that veteran backup that can run the team. Not run the team like Fox, run the team efficiently. I don't think they have that right now.
Yeah, they don't. You've been screaming from the rafters about that. And many times when Fox was out, that was the first thing many people were saying. So, but again, there's not a lot of those guys available either. And I think if the Kings would have reached for a guy in the offseason and it wouldn't have worked out, you would have just had another guy at the end of the bench. So you know what you know now. You improve that spot so long. Even if De'Aaron is still on the court, you try to improve that position, like you said.
All right. How about this final tally? Anthony Edwards, 18 free throw attempts. Sacramento, 11 free throw attempts. I would let me learn how to talk for a living. I would agree with that, but I'm also going to go and I'm going to add this. There's no rule anywhere in basketball that says that free throws need to be evenly distributed. Okay.
Right.
There's no rule that says because you shoot 20 free throws, I should shoot around 20. Doesn't happen. But if you look at the replays tonight, you pointed this out and Jerry pointed this out. And I think you hit it right on the head earlier on this show. I thought this was a poorly officiated game both ways. Both ways.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I wish they would do a 48-minute report, not for the Kings' sake to brag, but because there were a lot. Edwards could have been at the line 25 times. Let's put it that way.
Yep. That's a very good point. No doubt about that. Well, I hope everyone had a fabulous Thanksgiving. We are going to be joining you again next when the Kings play. What is it, Tuesday, right? Against the Warriors. So don't forget Monday, Sean Salisbury to wrap up this wild football weekend. Jerry Reynolds on Wednesday. Ryan will have the pregame on Tuesday. We've got pre-half, post-game shows right here on YouTube. And what else do we have? We have great loyal fans that join us on these shows, whether it's YouTube or whether it's on X, formerly Twitter. We love you guys and gals. Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you very much.
You guys are the best, and we hope that you and everybody else had just a wonderful Thanksgiving. And enjoy the break. Enjoy the break until Tuesday, and enjoy this one for sure.
And just remember, the Kings win. Oh, and if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. Oh, boy. So long, everybody.